Mr. Speaker.
I call Sir William Seal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Earlier, the Minister instructed the Local Government Committee that it report back on the bill in the House by the 15th of February 2016. This puts it in the 4-6-month category, meaning that there'll be a vote, but there won't be a separate debate on this issue. And given that this period includes the Christmas and New Year's holiday, when the House does not sit, it effectively leaves the Select Committee consideration a little more than 2 months. And so what we're looking at is either the usual 6-week period of receiving submissions would have to be shortened, or there would only be 1 week of hearing submissions and only 2 weeks to consider the departmental report. And so I think the Minister, I would hope, would want to amend his instructions, sir, to ensure that if he really does believe in what he's saying, that he gives ample time to the residents and citizens of the Canterbury region to come forward and to make submission on this particular bill. Because I think, sir, when you take in consideration the Christmas and New Year's holiday, I can't help but think whether this was deliberate, because most citizens would be focused on the Christmas holidays and not on this. Yet this is such a significant piece of legislation that I suspect citizens of Christchurch region would want to have a say. And I would ask the Minister to make the amendment and allow citizens of Christchurch ample time to make submission. And I would say to the Minister to move that back, move the report back date further out. And I say that because I want to challenge some of what the Minister has said. You know, so when I listened to the Minister, and I was listening intently because I generally wanted to hear the arguments, but I have heard that same argument over and over again. In fact, in the last 7 years of this government coming to be, I believe, sir, that they have gone out to deliberately undermine the local government sector. They've treated local government with disdain. They haven't treated the people elected by the people with respect. They treat them with disdain. They treat them as if they were an extension of his government ministry. And I say that, sir, because in 2010, we heard the Minister and that government say that this was only for a short period, that we were going to abolish, get rid of the elected representatives until 2013. In 2013, they tabled a similar piece of legislation saying, no, we're not going to elect people, that we were now going to look to 2016. Next year is 2016. Before 2016, they're tabling a similar piece of legislation. And what did he say? We're going to wait until 2019 until the citizens of Christchurch region get the opportunity to elect their own representative. Can we trust that word, given the pattern of 2010, 2013, and this year? Can we trust the Minister, and in the same regard, can we trust the word of that particular government when it comes to what they are saying today in this House? I'd say no. I'd say no. We don't know what's going to happen in 2019, but we certainly know the promises made in 2010 were not kept in 2013. The promises he made in 2013 will not be kept this year or next year when the elections take place. And so I have serious doubt that the promise he makes today in this House will be kept come 2019. So what is this all about? This is about this government wanting to control who decides on what happens in the water in that region. This is about a government wanting does not trust the people of the Auckland region, does not trust that they can make their own decisions as to what happens there. I know my colleague from the Green Party, Eugene Seiji, was a member of that council who was rudely abolished the seat by this very government. and she will probably give a more intimate detail description of what happened. Not from the word of that particular minister. He can say all he wants, but can we trust him? I say no. Based on the pattern that he's established in this House, you cannot trust this man here. Cannot trust this government when it comes to local democracy. Democracy, Mr. Speaker, is about trusting the people making their own decisions. Rightly or wrongly, the people will make the decision. Listen, I sat here listening to you. You will sit there and listen to me. Here is a man who is now doesn't trust what he said himself, trying to defend the indefensible. Mr. Speaker, if they felt so strongly about maintaining proper decision-making here in Christchurch, why did they not do that up north in the Kaipara district, where there were some serious problems there? They didn't, because this is about protecting their own self-interest in the irrigation of water in the Christchurch region. People in Christchurch will want to have a say, sir, in this, and I hope they're listening. I hope they're listening when I say that you cannot trust the government that makes promises time and time again, and each time they make that promise, they then pass legislation to break that same promise that they make. But democracy is important, and democracy is the foundation of local government. Local communities want to have a say in how their councils determine the direction and the future of where those local communities go. So, sir, I'd say, sir, that if I was a Canterburyan, I would feel that this is a disgraceful way of how this government have used their powers to observe the rights of communities, to elect their representatives, that they have every right to, their local representatives who would represent them and make the decisions that are best for that community and the future of the Canterbury region. So I understand that before they passed legislation in 2010, that it was actually they'd actually hatched up the agreement at a National Party conference. Why? Because, as I understand it, reported to me by those in the know, that this is about protecting personal interest in this one. Personal interest. And so this isn't about the elected representative of the Canterbury Council making bad decisions. This is about them protecting their mates, protecting their interest over the interest of the wider community. Well, I can say this, they haven't been straight with New Zealanders. They haven't been straight from the beginning about Canterbury and the rights of Canterbury to elect their own representatives. So the mixed model. What is the mixed model? I like what my colleague here, Dr. Megan Wood, said. Either a woman is pregnant or not pregnant. This is what Dr. Megan Wood said. A person isn't half pregnant. Person isn't half pregnant. So what is this mixed model about? It is about maintaining the facade, sir, that we're transitioning into democracy, when the reality is it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They retain their right to be able to appoint 6 councillors on the regional council. And so as long as the government have that right, have that ability to be able to appoint people on that regional council, sir, they will also have the ability to control and determine and to influence the decisions of that council in the years to come. But the reality, sir, I've also been told, sir, that even though they say today that this is a transitional provision, that in 2019 the region will be able to elect their own full council, it's my understanding that they have been advised by MPI to retain the structure, to retain this mixed model of democracy of convenience for the government. So I don't believe, sir, that we can trust any word that this minister and his government has laid out before the House. Look to the pattern. 2010, the same promise was made, broken again. 2013, the same promise was made, broken again. This year, we're hearing the same promise, and the promise again that in 2019, the people of Canterbury will elect their representatives. I don't believe that that's ever going to happen based on the pattern that they've established for themselves.
Point of order, the Honourable Nick Smith.
Mr Speaker, I seek leave of the House to table the Cabinet paper in which the Government appointed commissioners to the Kaipara District Council, contrary to the false claims made by the previous Speaker.
Publicly available?
It's a Cabinet paper.
So it's publicly available to members of the Parliament?
It would need to be. Cabinet papers are not normally publicly available. They're not on a public site.
I've asked a question. Can you answer the question? Is it publicly
Mr Speaker,
available?
Cabinet papers are not normally made publicly available, and given the inaccuracy that the previous member made in his speech, I'd just like to see the record set straight.
I'll put the Honourable Anna King.
Mr Speaker, a simple question. Is it publicly available now? Has it already been released?
That question's been put to the member who has.
He hasn't.
Well, he's answered it he's answered it as best as he can. He assures me. So I will put the leave. Leave is put for that purpose. Is there any objection? There appears to be none. I call Joanne Hayes.